You have a reality that you do every day. There's things you can change, but with those things that can't change, have a useful belief about them. This is our reality. So decide to enjoy, embrace the things about your life that are real. When you say this is the best time in the history of the world to be in your job, to be in your industry, an amazing thing happens. Your brain is going to go find exactly what it is that you are out there putting forward as a useful belief. I don't teach be positive, I teach something else. I teach useful. That word, bang. Because useful is not about a feeling or an emotion. Useful is about an action. And the difference between having a useful belief about your life is, well, a game changer. To get it done as a group together, it starts with you as the individual. I want you to imagine, 1 year from right now, we have this exact conference. You walk up to me and you say this, Chris, I have had the best year of my life. For you to walk up to me in 1 year time and say that, tell me, boom, what do we do? And all of a sudden, you'll have criteria. You'll start to know what you need to put into action. But only by going to the future are we absolutely clear what action we need to do. And that is pretty exciting. Let's actually start to think about what we want our sunset to look like. Thank you so much for that very warm welcome. It is terrific to be here, and I have to say, I do pinch myself at what I get to do, because I get the opportunity to talk about my favorite subject, people, every day. How many people in this room have to deal with human beings as part of what you do every day? Does anyone have to deal with those people? All right, so that being the case, we're going to be in the right spot, because I'm going to fly in the face right now of what you've heard your entire life. Are you ready? Positive thinking doesn't really work. If you had the worst year of your life, or for whatever reason, personally, professionally, you didn't have the sort of year you wanted, in fact, maybe you were even at ground zero. If I walked up to you right now and said, come on, man, just be positive, what would you want to do to me right now? I don't teach be positive, I teach something else. I teach useful, that word, bang. Because useful is not about a feeling or an emotion. Useful is about an action. What are the most useful actions you can take to get from 2 to 5? What are the most useful actions to get from 5 to 8, right? In fact, I say useful belief. Useful belief is the idea I want you to take away, because actually it's amazing, right, how many people do not have a useful belief. And the difference between having a useful belief about your life is, well, a game changer. Well, let's talk through a little bit about this. And who has children? Who has children? Let me ask this question. Wow, look at that. All right, now, of all those people, who have ever been a part of a conversation like this, right? Are you ready? I can't believe kids today. Have you ever had this conversation, right? I can't believe when I was a kid, who's ever said that? Now, people ask me the question. I got 3 boys, 15, 12, 10. People say to me, Chris, what do you think about kids today? And I say this, well, I think it's the greatest time in the history of the world to be a kid. I think it's the greatest time in the history of the world to be a dad. Now, I don't know if either one of those things are true, but let me say this. I don't think truth matters as much as we actually think it really does, right? In fact, you'll find truth is very much a perception anyway. We sort of often have let other people create our truths anyway, because I know this. When I believe it's the best time ever to be a kid, when I believe it's the best time ever to be a parent, when I believe those things, I'm a better dad. I'm a better dad because I'm present and I'm locked in. I have a reality in my life, and that reality is I travel a lot. Right? In fact, last year, well, I did 177 presentations last year, and I did 117 airplane flights. That's a lot of airplane flights, and I there it is. I'm Platinum Qantas and Platinum Virgin, and I fly around. That's like roughly 3 times a week that I'm on an airplane, 3 days a week. And people say to me all the time, Chris, don't you hate travel? You must hate travel. If I was you, I would hate travel, they say to me. Well, hang on a second. If I'm going to fly 3 days a week, that's my reality. Now, by the way, I could stop traveling, couldn't I? I could stop traveling, right? But guess what? That would affect my lifestyle. That would affect, right, the ability for me to go out and influence people. So let's call it my reality. I can't not travel, right? I'm a traveling. So guess what? What is my useful belief? I'm not gonna hate travel, or I'd hate a third of my life, right? So guess what? What's my useful belief? I love airplanes. All right? I love them. I love airports. I love airport lounges. I love airplane food. Actually, the Virgin Lounge and the Qantas Lounge both have ham. I think they share the same ham. When you say this is the best time in the history of the world to be in your job, to be in your industry, an amazing thing happens. Well, there's an interesting part of your brain, the most important part of your brain for success, and it is a little thing called the reticular activating system. And what the reticular activating system does for you is that it filters the billions of pieces of information that you get on a daily basis. And with these bits of information, your brain is going to go find exactly what it is that you are out there putting forward as a useful belief. Well, let's talk through a little bit about this, and let's give you your first idea. Who drove in this morning? Who drove here this morning? How many times did you say to yourself, driving in this morning, did you say, oh my God, another red Toyota, right? I'm imagining 0 is the number on that. You want to know why? You weren't looking for red Toyotas. The second you decide to buy a red Toyota, your reticular activating system will find them. And where are they going to be? Everywhere. You can see them everywhere. Why? Because your reticular activating system is looking for and filtering through what it is that you put forward. When I say it's the best time in the history of the world to be alive, if I believe that, that's my useful belief, then guess what? I walk outside and I'm going to see amazing things. I'm going to see a flower and a tree and a puppy and a baby. I'm going to find beautiful things in the world because my brain will be searching for those things. By the way, your reticular activating system tortures you, all right? If you've ever had your heart broken here in this room, and I imagine all of us at one time or another have had our heart broken. There's always like one guy in the back of the room going, not me, not ever. No one's ever broken my heart. But for the rest of us who've had our heart broken, your reticular activating system's gonna torture you. Because if we've had our heart broken, we walk outside, what do we see everywhere? Stupid, happy people everywhere, holding hands and their perfect families and their perfect lives while we're heartbroken. By the way, if you are currently unhappy in your current relationship, then what do you see everywhere? Hot single people everywhere that you can't have, right? Because your reticular activating system is filtering what it is that we're looking for. Now, let's make this come alive and bring this right back to sales. Let's go all the way back to the most relevant point that we talk about in this industry, in this business right now. As soon as you say to yourself, I'm going into this meeting, it's going to be a waste of time. What do? You get your reticular activating system, your red Toyota's looking for it, you sit down, get in the body language, and there you are, searching, looking for it, there it is, waste of time. Told you, huh? Very different to have a useful belief where you go in and say, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of this meeting or not, but I'm going to be open. And when you're open with a useful belief about the meeting, it may not come, but if it does, you won't miss it, right? We start thinking about having a useful belief about how we go at things. It's a useful belief about your reality. Every single person in this room has a reality, your reality. And with the things you can change, right? Well, you can make that change. But with those things that can't change, have a useful belief about them. This is our reality. So decide to enjoy, embrace the things about your life that are real. Do you know what's amazing? And we got people on the phone face to face every day. Only 7% of your communication is words. That's crazy. Albert Morabian did a study. Only 7% of your communication is words. That is a very small percentage. It said 38%, 5 times more powerful is the tone with which you speak. Now, you know this is true, by the way, if you've ever been in a relationship before in your life, right? And all of a sudden you look at your partner and you're like, what did I say? What'd I do? Nothing. You did nothing, right? You know right now that nothing meant what? Something, everything, absolutely. You know this. In fact, 55% of our communication is our body language. So we start thinking about the power of tone in creating great customer experiences, the power of our body language in creating great customer experiences. And in fact, well, how many people have ever heard about mirroring body language? Who've ever heard about mirroring tone and body? Right, you know, mirroring didn't really work for me. You're like, what is with this guy, man? Positive thinking doesn't work. Mirroring, you know, I became too obsessed with it, right? There I'd be, right? And if I'm gonna mirror this gentleman right here, right, I just got obsessed. I would sort of get my foot at the same spot as him and my other foot there, and then I'd sort of cross over and do this sort of groin protection thing that he's sort of doing right now. And, yeah, I don't know, I missed the moment. Instead, you know what it is? I like matching. The final one, of all the successful people I've met, I've done over 2,000 presentations. I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of thousands of people. And driving from a place of gratitude, I have to say, you guys have given me the greatest gift you could have given me today. You gave me your time. And when people give you their time, right? That's the greatest gift they could give you. And we have, well, it's my mission statement that when you give me your time, I promise you I'll give you everything I got. And that's it. And the rewards are there. When we see the joy in people's faces, gratitude. Of all those successful people, I've never seen anybody, right, that was truly successful who didn't possess our final one here, energy, energy, energy in abundance. Now, this is all the behind the scenes stuff. What happens? Do I have a useful belief? Right? I'm ready. I'm going to filter the greatness that comes my way. I'm going to code the actions. But then all of a sudden we come to that point. We have to teach people to talk to other people, right? Teach people to talk to other human beings. And I want to share with you right now the greatest tool of connection, the greatest tool of communication ever. What? Did he say the greatest tool of communication ever? Yes, the greatest tool of communication ever. In fact, you can write these down if you like. Here we go. This tool is called Forward. This is the things that are most important to people, and this is the communication tool that will help you in these areas. You can jot these down. Sales, leadership, small talk. Ooh, that's a good one. Nightclub excellence. Your conversion rates will improve. All right, all these different areas of your life, but most of all, our ability to connect in conversation with other human beings. Now, these are the things that are most important to people in the world. And we talk about this. The F stands for family. All right, the F is family. How about the O? The O is occupation, what they do. And the R is relax, what they like to do to relax. We'll talk about the D in just a moment, uncovering their dreams. We'll talk about the D in just a moment. Now, with this, it's a very simple idea. I would like to take us to a place that we've all been. An Australian family barbecue. Raise your hand if you've ever been to an Australian family barbecue. Who's ever been? There we are, an Australian family barbecue. There we are. There's a guy over here, Steve. In fact, let's just use this in a context so everybody can use this for the rest of your life. By the way, here we go. Every context, CEOs, salespeople, through to everybody in life can use this. Here we go. Conversation. Steve's over here. I've never met Steve before in my life. We all get nervous when we meet new people. Right, there we are, and we got that little feeling. Going over there to meet Steve. I've never met Steve before. What am I going to say to Steve? And then all of a sudden I remember, I got that Ford thing from the conference on the Gold Coast. I'll use that and think F family. Now, we're at a family context because we're at a family barbecue. So I walk over to Steve and I say, hey, Steve, how you doing? Chris Helder, and I introduce myself, and F is in my head. I say, Steve, which one of these little rugrats is yours? He says, that's my boy just over there. I'm like, man, Steve, he looks just like you. And he says, oh, yeah, no, my wife and I are very proud. I said, your wife's here today? He says, yep, she's just over there, mate. And, man, Steve, your wife is hot, man. No, I don't say that. I do not say that. Instead, I say, fantastic, Steve. Where's little Jimmy go to school? And there you are. Oh, you guys live in St. James Place, beautiful spot. And I ask him all about his F family. Now, it is possible that Steve will ask me about my F situation. It's possible. Surprisingly unlikely, actually, in the real world out there. But nonetheless, if he does, I do not answer, right? I can't look at him and go, I'm sorry, Steve, I can't actually answer any questions right now because I'm actually doing the Ford technique on you at the moment, all right? I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to answer. However, I'm going to answer and swing it back. I'm going to answer and swing. I'm answering and swinging, right? And I swing it back over to him, and I go to the O. I say, Steve, what do you do for business, mate? What do you do for work at the moment, right? What do you do for work? And he tells me he's a financial advisor. Financial advisor, I said, tell me a little bit about that. Different regulations happening. How long has he been doing it? Changing environments. He starts talking to me all about that, and it is fantastic. I listen. F and O, straight down the line, and there I am, and Steve is having fun. Why is he having fun? Because he's talking about his favorite subject, which is himself. There it is. Because at the end of the day, those are the things that he connects around. That's going to get him excited to talk to me, right? We talk about sales. I heard it just before as I was standing in the back of the room. This is the time and place in the world of authenticity. This is the time and place of real, right? I don't want to know what you're trying to sell me unless ultimately you can demonstrate to me that you care about me and that you know about my life. FOR is about my life. Now, I know sometimes business people sit in here and they go, Chris, you can't use that in a business context. I'm not going to walk into somebody I've never met before and start asking them about their family. That's not right. Well, of course not. I wouldn't either. The first time I met Kel, do you think I walked up to Kel from Intimo? Do you think I walked up to him and started talking about family? No. First thing we talked about was what? Business. We started with the O. And then, by the way, I said, Kel, what do you like to do when you're getting away from this place? And then only if it's appropriate are we going to talk about family, right? I didn't walk into for Kel. I stood outside Intimo, and before I walked in the door, I said this, Orf, Orf, I'm walking into Orf Kell. That's what I was going in to do. I was going in to Orf that guy. That was it. Foring or orfing, the only thing that changes is the context, right? Now, by the way, if I met you at the football club, if I met you at the tennis club, if I met you at the golf club, the first letter we're going to talk about is R, yeah? And then I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to be like, what do you do for work? And it's going to go, oh, geez, you sound busy. And then only if it's appropriate are we going to go to family and friends, right? Rough. I'm either going to for you, orf you, or rough you. And the only thing that's going to change is the context. We talk about this, the FOR conversation. It is great. But small talk is small talk. And dreams is really the most important thing. And next to dreams, can you put this word vulnerability? And I say this because people only share vulnerability with you. And I mean vulnerability in a way that they share something real with you. That they share this with you if they what? If they trust you, right? I mean, there they are. That's the only time that they're going to share that with you. See, I believe FOR is the art of being a great conversationalist. I believe the D, the uncovering of the dreams, that's being a great salesperson. Because when you can uncover that vulnerability and somebody shares this with you, that means they trust you, right? At the end of the day, it's very much about uncovering their dreams. What do they want? And only by uncovering their dreams are we able to match what we can do to help them get what they want. The dreams piece is the gold. Great salespeople are great at uncovering the dreams. When we talk about the dreams, I like to refer to it as this, the uncovering of the sunset, and the sunset being what it is that they want to achieve in their life. And I love watching the sun go down over the ocean. I love that moment. It gets to be about that big, and then boop, it disappears. In that moment, the sunset is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the end of a time period for me. The end of a time period that I can look back on that day and actually think about what I did well, what I didn't do well. Because we live in the moment, but what happens for a lot of people is living in the moment, they get busy. And when they get busy, they lose mindfulness. And next thing you know what? They're on the hamster wheel of life. And they're running. And it's not that they're not working hard, they're working real hard, right? But they're running and running and running. They got hamster sweat flying off them. Man, they're working, right? But they're not actually getting done what they can get done because they haven't thought enough about what's their 1 year sunset. I want you to imagine 1 year from right now, we have this exact conference. And you say this, Chris, I have had the best year of my life. Personally, physically, my body, professionally, the targets, my personal brand, what I went out there and did. For you to walk up to me in 1 year time and say that, tell me, boom, what did we do? And all of a sudden, you'll have criteria. You'll start to know what you need to put into action. And that is pretty exciting. And let's actually start to think about what we want our sunset to look like. As you go out there and think about your sunsets, my favorite quote is by Helen Keller, who may have had the most useful belief of all. Life is one of two things. It's either a daring adventure or it's absolutely nothing. Lead your people on the daring adventure. Make your life the daring adventure you want it to be. My name is Chris Helder. Thank you so much for inviting me along today.